Wonderful lag. There we go. So thank you guys for joining us. This is the Cat's Pajamas and Destiny, bringing you guys the finals of the SC Reddit Open. Big shout out to the organizers, starcraft.reddit.com, screddit.com, and their sponsors, zenmagnets.com and newgamesninja.com. Here at the 3 o'clock position, we have Domorin. Domorin is our blue Terran player here on Lost Temple. Down at the 6 o'clock position, we have Hay. Hay is our orange Terran. Now, Domorin is out to a 2-0 lead at this point. This is a best of 7, so he needs 2 more games in order to secure the victory. Now, we have had kind of a couple of interesting matches, and they've basically followed the same pattern, even though there were a couple of different builds. And both players actually reversed their builds as the matches went on. Game 1 on Shakura's Plateau, Domorin decided to go after a 1-ranks fast expand style build while his opponent went for some siege tanks. It initially looked bad for Domorin, but he was very, very pesky, taking control of the map, and did actually rock face in a pretty convincing fashion once he established map control. His opponent, Hay, then decided to go for Xel'Naga Caverns the next game. Xel'Naga Caverns, of course, the staging ground for Hay's Makarak-style play, quick aggression, and I actually thought that he may have been able to pull off a win with that first little push. Domorin did hold, macroed himself back into the game, and just sat and did harassment over and over and over again, made a couple of questionable decisions, but was able to pull out the victory in the end. So hopefully that wastes the first couple of minutes of a TVT so we don't have to talk about supply depots going up. There are barracks up now for both players. We are close positions by ground on Lost Temple. Of course, that means that there's a very short walk distance between the two bases. So I would expect both players to opt for a fairly standard Marine siege tank, possibly medevac or Viking timing push. I wouldn't expect too much out of the ordinary in these positions.
Looks like Hay's going for another kind of fast expansion build. I don't see any gas going up at all.
Yeah, and actually saving up a good number of resources, not putting down his second barracks, but instead just opting to save up those minerals required for his next expansion, almost at 300 minerals right now. So this, I actually think, is a little bit risky. Given the close walk distance here, if Domorin just bides his time, doesn't get too over-aggressive, and just waits until he has a siege tank with a bunch of Marines up, I'd probably push in and do a ton of damage here right about the 7 or 8 minute mark.
Yeah, especially with the way that the cliffs work in this map, too. He can utilize some of these cliffs. Again, if he waits till he gets medevacs out to kind of shuttle his troops up and down, it would be really, really hard to defend so many positions when you're putting yourself behind in gas for no reason this early. Well, I say for no reason, but for in favor of a fast expansion.
Right, yeah. No, I mean, he is inclining towards a fast expand. He's done that the past 2 matches, but he's not doing a fast expand into a lot of aggression here or anything like that. Not going to try and get out any more Marines than is absolutely necessary to hold the Xel'Naga Tower. Actually sitting there with an SCV as well. Not sure what that SCV is doing there.
Another gas going down for Domorin. I almost wonder if he's planning some more Banshee play or something here.
Yeah, this is not super early, not before the factory is even started, and with the reactor coming up, I don't know. He did use quite a bit of gas on that. I don't know if this is going to be a tech switch or, indeed, as you suggested, if he's going to go for a pretty, airdrop or possibly Banshee-oriented play. We do have the 2 gas finisher Hay at this point. He's putting out some more Marines, and he's about ready to finish that command center instead of putting down any more barracks, just going straight into a factory. So everything pretty standard at this point, with the exception of the fast expand. Tech Lab going down for Domorin at this point on his factory. And he is going to put up a starport. Now, this is a build that I've seen a lot of players, especially I follow Lucky Fool quite a bit, and Lucky Fool seems to employ this build quite effectively with the reactored barracks, my apologies, and right into a siege tank, and he'll make a timing push with about 9 or 10 Marines, 1 medevac, and a siege tank. He'll actually won't research siege mode for a while. This may be a variation on that with siege mode. I'm not sure. Domorin will tell us here in a bit. But Hay is going ahead and saturating a bunker right now to protect his natural expansion.
It might not. I'm not entirely sure. I know playing as Zerga, one thing that I fear on this map is fast siege tank drops on these cliffs are extremely powerful. I'm not entirely sure if it's something that would be as relevant in a TVT, but knowing that Domorin has more gas quicker than Hay does, I mean, if he gets tanks up there and can fortify the position and shut down this fast expansion, Hay again will be in a really bad position. And even with Domorin's lack of micro, in some instances, it would be really hard to lose a lead at that point. But I see he's pushing out now instead.
Yeah, you say it's not as prevalent in TVT, but generally on this map you don't have the fast expand, especially in the close ground positions, and it may be something that Domorin wants to think about. Even though that may have not been his strategy, I think that siege tank push there on the high ground would be absolutely deadly. Ooh, actually, he may be thinking about elevator dropping his units here into the main of Hay. He does indeed drop down the siege tank and a bunch of Marines. Going to get the next one started here soon. The supply depot. I don't know if it was canceled or not. That may just been 100 wasted resources there for Hay. Hay is trying to bring his units back right now. We're looking at a pretty even amount of units for the time being. It depends on how quickly the siege tank will get focused down. This medevac is actually really turning the tide in favor of Domorin. Domorin had a lot less units than his opponent, but now with that medevac was able to gain a nice little advantage, and Hay is forced back to repair his siege tank for a while Domorin gears up for a push through the front.
I really would have liked to have seen Domorin snipe that tech lab there. Seeing that there were currently no Terran units out with that medevac there and everything, I don't think there was too much of a risk in it.
And so he does have vision onto the high ground here. He immediately snipes one of those siege tanks. Second one goes down. Oh my god, so Domorin is going to be able to run through this base completely. The bunker is being recovered. It actually is successfully recovered. A lot of SCVs falling down there, and Hay does not have a lot to go ahead and defend this. There's one bunker going down for Domorin as well.
Disastrous. Domorin's got siege mode working in his base, but even without siege mode, it's going to be so hard for Hay to come back from this.
He's able to focus fire down those units so quickly. Nice little bit of micro control there by Domorin, picking up his siege tank that only had 9 points of health left on it. And Hay is going to lose the rest of his army completely, and I think he's going to be forced to GG here very soon. Oh my god, the Mannered Mule goes down, or maybe just a repair mule. I'm still going to call it the Mannered Mule.
Doesn't have to be the Mannered Mule.
Yeah, of course. And Hay does GG.